Imagine waking up to the sound of silence so pure, it feels like the world is holding its breath. Outside your window, snow falls in thick, lazy spirals, blanketing the pines, the meadow, the distant mountains. Inside, you're wrapped in warmth, surrounded by timber beams that smell faintly of cedar and coffee brewing somewhere in the distance. This isn't a cabin. It's not a farmhouse. It's something different, something that shouldn't exist in a place this cold, this remote. But it does, and it's called a barndominium. You see, there's a quiet revolution happening in the coldest corners of our world. People are leaving behind the cookie-cutter suburbs, the relentless noise of city life, the endless scroll of artificial everything. They're heading north, way north, to Montana, to Alaska, to the frozen edges of Canada and Scandinavia. And they're building these hybrid sanctuaries, part barn, part modern home, part emotional fortress against the chaos of modern existence. But here's what most people don't understand. Designing a cozy barndominium for cold climates isn't just about insulation and heating systems. It's about creating a space that holds you when the world outside is trying to freeze you out. It's about building warmth into the walls themselves. It's architecture as armor, as embrace, as poetry written in steel and stone. Let me take you inside this world. The first thing you need to know is that these structures were never meant to be beautiful. Barndominiums, born from agricultural metal buildings, were utilitarian by nature. Storage for equipment, shelter for livestock, function over form, always. But then something unexpected happened. Someone looked at those soaring ceilings, those open floor plans, that honest rawness of exposed steel, and they saw possibility. They saw what could be. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it's a simple way to show your love for these incredible designs. In cold climates, that possibility becomes survival wrapped in intention. Because when it's negative 20 degrees outside and the wind is screaming across the tundra like a wounded animal, your home can't just be pretty. It has to perform. It has to protect. It has to make you feel something other than cold. They start with the bones. The shell is metal, typically steel, which sounds counterintuitive for cold weather, right? Metal conducts temperature. But that's where the magic of modern engineering comes in. These structures are wrapped in layers of spray foam insulation so thick, so complete, that the outside world becomes a distant memory. We're talking R-values that would make your grandfather's farmhouse weep with envy. The cold doesn't penetrate. It can't. It's locked out permanently. But insulation alone doesn't create coziness. That's just science. What we're after is alchemy. Inside, the design language shifts entirely. Those metal exterior walls, you'd never know they exist, because the interior is wrapped in wood. So much wood. Reclaimed barn beams running the length of the ceiling. 40, 50 feet of uninterrupted visual flow. These aren't decorative. They're structural. They're holding up the sky of your private universe. And they're scarred with history. Old nail holes, saw marks, the patina of decades spent in actual barns before being rescued and reimagined. The walls are often shiplap or tongue-and-groove pine, sometimes left natural, sometimes painted in shades that mirror the winter landscape outside. Soft whites, warm grays, the occasional deep charcoal that makes you feel like you're inside a storm cloud, safe and hidden. The wood isn't just aesthetic, it's acoustic. It absorbs sound, creates this peculiar quiet that feels almost sacred. In a cold climate barndominium, silence isn't empty. It's full, rich, textured. We share new content regularly to help you create spaces you love, so don't forget to subscribe. And then there's the heart of the entire operation, the fireplace, not some wimpy gas insert tucked into a wall. We're talking about a statement. A floor-to-ceiling stone chimney that rises through the open living space like a monument to warmth itself. River rock, stacked stone, sometimes raw concrete, materials that look like they were pulled from the land itself. The fireplace is often double-sided, serving both the main living area and the primary bedroom, because in these climates, you don't just want heat. You want the idea of heat. You want flames you can watch, crackling you can hear, that primal reassurance that fire brings, that you're going to make it through another winter. Around this fire, the living space opens up in ways that defy traditional home design. Barndominiums in cold climates embrace the great room concept with almost religious fervor. Kitchen, dining, living, all one continuous space under those soaring ceilings. 20, 30 feet of vertical space. And you'd think that would be impossible to heat, impractical, wasteful. But that's where the design gets clever. The heat rises, yes, but ceiling fans, often massive, industrial-style fixtures that look like they belong in an old warehouse, push that warmth back down. The open floor plan means heat circulates naturally. No cold pockets, no forgotten corners. And psychologically, that openness fights the claustrophobia that winter can bring. When the world outside is closing in, buried under snow, your interior space expands to compensate. You have room to breathe even when the earth can't. If you found this video inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support means to me, and it helps keep the design ideas coming your way. The windows are another paradox. In cold climates, conventional wisdom says minimize windows, reduce heat loss. But these barndominiums? They're filled with glass. Massive windows, sometimes entire walls of them. Triple-paned, low-E-coated, thermally broken. All the technical specs that mean the cold stays out while the light pours in. Because here's what the designers understand. In places where winter darkness can last 18, 20 hours a day, natural light isn't a luxury. It's survival. It's sanity. Those windows are carefully positioned to capture views that make your heart ache. The pine forest bending under snow. The frozen lake reflecting white sky. Mountains that change personality with every hour. Soft and pink at dawn, sharp and blue at noon, violet and menacing at dusk. The barndominium becomes a frame for the wilderness. You're not separate from nature in these spaces. You're in constant conversation with it. Just safely, warmly, on your terms. The kitchen in a cold climate barndominium is where the design philosophy gets deeply personal. These aren't showcase kitchens for entertaining dozens. They're hearth kitchens, working kitchens. You see massive ranges, often dual fuel, sometimes even wood-burning cookstoves supplementing modern appliances. Butcher block countertops scarred with use. Open shelving displaying heavy pottery and cast iron that's been seasoned for generations. There's always a coffee station, not just a machine, but a whole zone dedicated to the ritual of warming yourself from the inside. And there's usually a huge farmhouse table, the kind that seats 10 even though only 2 people live there, because that table represents possibility. Community. The future meals that might happen when the road's clear and friends can finally make the journey. If you love this type of look, hit that subscribe button to help us create more videos. And let us know in the comments what you'd love to see in future videos. The bedrooms are sanctuaries within sanctuaries. In many cold climate barndominiums, the primary suite is located on the main floor, practical for aging in place. Yes, but also for those mornings when you simply cannot face going upstairs to a colder second level. The bedroom often features its own fireplace, that shared two-sided one, and windows positioned precisely to wake you with sunrise, assuming winter allows such things. The textiles here are everything. Chunky knit blankets, wool throws, linen sheets layered with flannel quilts, sheepskin rugs beside the bed so your feet hit something soft and warm instead of cold floor. The bed itself is usually oversized, piled with pillows, a nest you can burrow into when the wind is trying to pry apart the seams of the world. And here's where it gets interesting. The bathroom. In cold climates, The bathroom becomes spa-like not through luxury, but through necessity. Heated floors are standard, not optional, because stepping onto warm tile when it's frozen outside is the kind of small grace that makes life bearable. Deep soaking tubs positioned near windows so you can watch the snow fall while you're submerged in heat. Showers with body jets that hit you from 6 directions. Steam showers that turn the whole room into a cloud. These aren't indulgences. They're therapy. They're how you defrost both body and soul. The loft spaces in these barndominiums often become the most emotionally complex areas. Accessible by industrial steel staircases,